Ladies, I'm about to tell you something that might completely shatter the way you've been approaching relationships, and it's going to make some of you uncomfortable. Because what I'm about to reveal goes against everything you've been taught about giving people the benefit of the doubt, about being understanding, about working through problems together. Here's the brutal truth that no one wants to admit. Some men will say things that sound caring, thoughtful, even romantic, but are actually calculated manipulations designed to keep you exactly where they want you, confused, questioning yourself, and far too invested to walk away. Most women have been conditioned to be forgiving, to look for the good in people, to believe that communication can fix anything. But here's what's going to change your entire dating life forever. There are 5 specific phrases that when a man says them to you, they're not miscommunications or moments of weakness. They're red flags wrapped in pretty words. And the moment you hear any of these, you need to trust your instincts, gather your strength, and walk away immediately. Not tomorrow, not after one more conversation, not after giving him another chance. Immediately. This isn't about being harsh or unforgiving. This is about understanding that your time, your energy, and your heart are precious. And when someone shows you through their words that they don't respect those things, they're telling you exactly who they are. The question isn't whether they mean it. The question is whether you're going to believe them the first time or wait until they've proven it over and over again in ways that leave you questioning your own worth. What makes this so powerful isn't just knowing what these phrases are. It's understanding the psychology behind why men use them, what they reveal about his true intentions, and how they're designed to keep you hooked even when every fiber of your being is telling you something is wrong. Because when you can see through the manipulation, when you understand the game being played, you stop being a player and start being the one who walks away with your dignity intact. So in this video, I'm going to break down these 5 phrases that should send you running, not just what they are, but why they're so dangerous, how they work on your psychology, and most importantly, how to recognize them before you get in too deep. These aren't just warning signs, they're relationship killers disguised as relationship builders. And once you know how to spot them, you'll never fall for them again. Ready to learn how to protect your heart and save yourself months or even years of confusion and pain. Let's dive deep into the words that should make you turn around and never look back. The first phrase that should make you walk away immediately is, "I'm just not ready for a relationship right now, but I don't want to lose you." This one sounds caring, doesn't it? It sounds like he's being honest about his limitations while still valuing what you have together. But let me tell you what this really means. It means he wants all the benefits of having you in his life, your attention, your affection, your availability, without having to give you any of the commitment or security you deserve. He's essentially asking you to put your romantic life on hold while he figures out what he wants, but only if what he wants turns out to be you. Here's the psychology behind this manipulation. He knows that if he completely cuts you off, you'll move on and find someone who actually wants to be with you. But he also knows that if he keeps you close enough, gives you just enough hope, just enough connection, you'll wait. You'll convince yourself that maybe if you're patient enough, understanding enough, available enough, he'll eventually come around. And that's exactly what he's counting on. The truth is, when a man is truly interested in you, when he sees your value and wants you in his life, he doesn't need time to figure out if he's ready for a relationship. He makes himself ready. He doesn't ask you to wait in limbo while he sorts through his feelings. He prioritizes you because he recognizes that someone like you won't wait around forever. The right man doesn't want to risk losing you to someone who actually knows what they want. But this phrase, this manipulative little sentence, it keeps you exactly where he wants you, close enough that he doesn't have to miss you, available enough that he doesn't have to work for your attention, but distant enough that he doesn't have to take any real responsibility for your feelings or your future together. You become his emotional safety net while he explores other options or simply enjoys the single life with you as a convenient backup plan. The most dangerous part about this phrase is how it makes you feel special. He's telling you he doesn't want to lose you, which sounds like you matter to him. But think about it. If you truly mattered, if losing you was genuinely a concern, wouldn't he want to lock you down? Wouldn't he want to make sure no other man has the opportunity to sweep you off your feet while he's busy not being ready? When you hear these words, what he's really saying is, I want to keep you as an option while I figure out if there's something better you. I want you to invest your time and energy in me while I invest nothing real in return. I want the comfort of knowing you're there without the responsibility of actually being there for you. Don't mistake his desire to keep you around for genuine feelings. A man who truly cares about you doesn't ask you to wait in uncertainty. He doesn't put you in a position where you're questioning your worth or wondering where you stand. He steps up or he steps aside so you can find someone who will. When a man says he's not ready but doesn't want to lose you, he's asking you to betray yourself, to settle for crumbs when you deserve the whole meal. And that's exactly when you say no and walk away. The second phrase that should have you heading for the door is, you're being too sensitive, or you're overreacting. This one is insidious because it doesn't just dismiss your feelings, it makes you question your own reality. When a man says this to you, he's not just avoiding responsibility for whatever he did or said that hurt you. He's training you to doubt your own emotional responses, to second guess your instincts, and to shrink yourself down to make him more comfortable. Let's talk about what's really happening here. You've brought up something that bothered you, something that didn't feel right, something that crossed a boundary or hurt your feelings. Instead of listening, instead of acknowledging your experience, instead of taking responsibility for his part in making you feel that way, he flips the script. Suddenly, the problem isn't what he did. The problem is your reaction to what he did. Suddenly, you're the one who's too much, too emotional, too sensitive. This is manipulation at its finest, and it's incredibly effective because most women have been told their entire lives that they're too emotional, that they feel too much, that they need to calm down. So when a man you care about echoes those same messages, it hits a particularly vulnerable spot. You start to wonder if maybe you are being too sensitive, maybe you are overreacting, maybe you should just let it go and not make such a big deal out of things. But here's what you need to understand. Your feelings are information. They're telling you something important about what's happening in your relationship. When something doesn't feel right, when something hurts, when something crosses a boundary, those feelings exist for a reason. They're not arbitrary. They're not wrong. They're your internal guidance system trying to protect you and guide you toward what's healthy and away from what's harmful. A man who respects you doesn't dismiss your feelings as an overreaction. He doesn't minimize your emotional responses or make you feel like you're too much. He listens. He tries to understand. He takes responsibility for his part in making you feel hurt or uncomfortable. He doesn't make your emotions the problem. He addresses the behavior or situation that caused those emotions in the first place. When a man tells you you're being too sensitive, what he's really saying is, your feelings are inconvenient for me. Your emotional responses are getting in the way of me doing whatever I want without consequences. I prefer if you would just accept whatever I do without complaint, without boundaries, without expecting me to consider how my actions affect you. This phrase is particularly dangerous because it's gaslighting. It makes you question your own perceptions, your own reality, your own emotional responses. Over time, if you accept this treatment, you'll start to silence your own instincts. You'll stop bringing up things that bother you. You'll stop advocating for yourself. You'll shrink down and make yourself smaller and smaller until you've lost touch with your own needs and boundaries entirely. The right man doesn't make you feel like your emotions are a burden. He doesn't dismiss your concerns or make you feel like you're asking for too much when you express how something made you feel. He recognizes that your sensitivity, your emotional intelligence, your ability to feel deeply, these aren't flaws to be managed. They're gifts to be cherished. They're part of what makes you who you are. And if he can't handle that, if he needs you to be less than who you are to make him comfortable, then he's not the right man for you. The third phrase that should make you run is, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Oh, this one. This one is particularly cruel because it sounds so thoughtful, so nuanced, so emotionally intelligent. He's making a distinction between different types of love. He cares about you, he values you, he loves you as a person, but that spark, that passion, that being in love feeling, it's just not there for him. It sounds almost philosophical, doesn't it? Like he's being honest and mature about complex emotions. But let me tell you what this phrase really is. It's a way to keep you close while simultaneously telling you that you'll never be enough. It's a way to have his cake and eat it too. He gets to keep your friendship, your support, your presence in his life, while also being completely honest about the fact that you don't inspire the kind of love that leads to real commitment, real partnership, real forever. Here's the thing about this phrase that makes it so manipulative. It implies that his feelings might change, that maybe if you're patient enough, understanding enough, maybe that in love feeling will develop over time. It keeps hope alive just enough to keep you invested, but not enough to give you any real security or promise of a future together. The psychology behind this is devastating. He's essentially telling you that while you're good enough to have around, you're not good enough to choose. You're not the one who makes his heart race, who he can't stop thinking about, who he wants to build a life with. You're the safe option, the comfortable option, the option he settles for when he can't have what he really wants. And here's what's particularly insidious about this phrase. It makes you want to try harder. It makes you think that maybe if you're more attractive, more interesting, more available, more understanding, you can somehow inspire that in-love feeling in him. It turns you into someone who's constantly performing, constantly trying to earn a feeling that should be natural and effortless if it's meant to be there. But love, real love, the kind that leads to lasting relationships, it doesn't work that way. You can't perform your way into someone's heart. You can't earn someone's passion. You can't convince someone to be in love with you. Either they are or they aren't. Either you inspire that feeling in them naturally or you don't. And if you don't, no amount of trying, no amount of being perfect, no amount of waiting and hoping is going to change that. When a man tells you he loves you but isn't in love with you, what he's really saying is, you're good enough to keep around, but not good enough to choose. You're good enough to fill a space in my life, but not good enough to be my priority. You're good enough to love, but not good enough to be in love with. That's not the kind of love you want. That's not the kind of love you deserve. You deserve to be someone's first choice, not their backup plan. You deserve to be with someone who doesn't have to make intellectual distinctions about loving you versus being in love with you. You deserve to be with someone who feels both naturally and effortlessly, because that's what happens when two people are truly right for each other. The right man doesn't love you in categories. He doesn't pass his feelings into different types and levels. He doesn't keep you around while being honest about the fact that you don't inspire his deepest romantic feelings. He either wants you completely or he lets you go completely so you can find someone who does. The fourth phrase that should send you running is, I need space to figure things out. This one sounds reasonable, doesn't it? It sounds mature and self-aware. He's recognizing that he needs time to process, to think, to figure out what he wants. He's not making rash decisions. He's being thoughtful and considerate by asking for space rather than just disappearing or acting out. It sounds like the kind of thing an emotionally mature person would say when they're going through a difficult time. But here's what's really happening when a man asks for space to figure things out. He's creating distance so he can explore other options without technically cheating on you. He's buying himself time to see if something better comes along while keeping you as a backup plan in case it doesn't. He's putting your relationship on pause while he lives his life as if he's single, but with the safety net of knowing you'll probably be there when he's done figuring things out. The psychology behind this request is particularly cruel because it puts you in an impossible position. If you say no, if you tell him you don't want to give him space, you look needy and clingy and like you don't respect his autonomy. But if you say yes, if you agree to give him the space he's asking for, you're essentially agreeing to put your own life on hold while he decides whether or not you're worth choosing. Here's what you need to understand about space in relationships. When two people are truly committed to each other, when they're truly invested in making things work, they figure things out together. They don't need space from each other to determine whether the relationship is right. They need space with each other to work through whatever challenges they're facing. The right man doesn't ask you to disappear from his life so he can figure out if he wants you in it. He doesn't need distance from you to determine your value or your place in his world. He knows what you mean to him, and he works through his confusion or his challenges while maintaining his connection with you, not by severing it. When a man asks for space to figure things out, what he's really saying is, I want to see what else is out there without losing you as an option. I want to experience life as if I'm single while knowing you're waiting for me. I want to have my freedom and your commitment at the same time. This phrase is particularly manipulative because it sounds like it's about him taking responsibility for his confusion, but it's actually about him avoiding responsibility for your feelings and your needs. He gets to take all the time he wants to figure things out while you're left in limbo, not knowing where you stand, not knowing whether to move on or wait, not knowing whether to date other people or stay faithful to someone who may or may not choose you in the end. The most dangerous part about giving someone space to figure things out is that it teaches them you're willing to be treated as an option. It teaches them that your time and your emotional energy are not valuable enough to prioritize. It teaches them that they can put you on the shelf whenever it's convenient for them and expect you to be grateful for the opportunity to wait. Real love doesn't require space to figure out. Real love requires presence to work through. When someone truly values you, they don't need distance from you to determine your worth. They already know it, and they're willing to do the work of the relationship with you, not away from you. The fifth and final phrase that should make you walk away immediately is, you knew what this was when we started. This one might be the most infuriating of all because it's designed to make you feel like you're the one who's being unreasonable for wanting more than what was initially established. It's his way of shutting down any conversation about the relationship evolving, about things getting more serious, about him stepping up his commitment level. It's his way of saying that nothing has changed, nothing will change, and you're wrong for thinking it should. But here's what makes this phrase so manipulative. Relationships are supposed to evolve. Feelings are supposed to deepen. Connections are supposed to grow stronger over time. What starts as casual can become serious. What starts as undefined can become defined. What